Most people at one time or another fantasize about going into business and being their own boss. Now, a growing number of Americans are making that fantasy a reality. In an economic climate that encourages and nurtures entrepreneurship, hundreds of thousands of corporate executives, MBAs, retirees, and individuals interested in a career change are striking off on their own. And as small business owners, they are creating a dynamic force that is revolutionizing business as we have known it in this country. Thank you for joining us on As We See It, a show about issues in the community from the residents' point of view, letting you know that you are not alone in the effort to make your community a better place. On today's show, we will discuss the benefits of owning a business, and if you are already a business owner, a few tips on how to be more marketable. So viewers at home, be sure to take a lot of notes. Joining me for our discussion from left to right is Mr. Devance Walker, Manager, Small Business Services, Montgomery County Department of Economic Development. Evangelist Mondrea Jacobs, CEO, Jack Enterprises, LLC. Mr. Anthony Ruiz, Regional Director, Maryland Business Development Center. And Ms. Elaine Mensah, Publicist and Owner, South LLC. And finally, to top today's show will be a performance by Dan Suna, a singer-songwriter and recording artist from Uganda. However, this show would not have been possible without our great studio audience. So thank you all for being here today. Mr. Walker, I'm going to start with you. What are the first steps a first-time business owner needs to take to get their business off the ground?
Well, we first advise you to find or create an effective business plan. But before that, you should make sure that the business you're going into is viable. I mean, is it a time to do this business? Or is it something that should be related to the business? Okay, sometimes you can start a business and it's not timely, because we need to look, you should look and see whether there's a need out there for what you're trying to provide. Some people just stick to what their idea is and they don't change, okay? So we're trying to get people to do the research, look at the trends, and decide, should we do this business? Also, people think when they first start out, they need a lot of money. And in fact, a lot of times you do not need a lot of money. Now, if you're going to try to rent some space, get a new car, and all this, well, you're going to need the money. But initially, you may not need to go for a loan. Some people think there are grants out there to help you start your business. Well, there are loans out there.
So that's part of the resources available to get a business started.
Right. But you can go to your relatives when you're first starting out. You don't want to be in debt when you start a business, okay? So you can find other means to get funding. But we do have, if you need it, we do have some loans, like we have a micro enterprise loan program, and we're providing loans from $500 to $15,000 for folks who are just creating their businesses. So, but I do advise people to find other sources to get financing if you want to start out in your business. So basically, I say you need you need to register your business with the state assessment and taxation, so they know that this is your trade name. You need to get your employment identification number to start out, and you need to start to look at the planning for your business, and that's what a business plan is. Just like a teacher creates a teacher's plan, you need a business plan, so sort of lay out how you're going to run, how you're going to operate this business.
Do you help people put their business plans together?
We do, but there are other sources, but we will help them with their business plan. Also, it's on our website, Montgomery County website. You can go to smartmontgomery.com and look under Small Business Services, and we have a sample of a business plan that you can download and revise it for yourself.
Now, talk to us a little bit about contracts. How do people go about getting contracts with a county?
Well, we do have an office of procurement, and you can contact them and go on the website again to.
Now, do you have to own a business to get a contract with the county?
Yes, we want you to be a business owner to get a contract, right? Okay. But it's just not with the county. You can get a contract with the private sector as well. But if you're going to get a contract with the county, you need to understand what the process is to get a contract, whether it's a small opportunity or a large opportunity, and whether you're going to team with someone. So you need to understand the process. And you also need to understand that there are other agencies in the county, private agencies, that people label as county, but they're not the county government. For example, in Montgomery County, we have the school system, we have Montgomery College, we have the Housing Opportunity Commission. These are all county or quasi-county agencies, and all have their own separate procurement offices.
Okay.
So you have to go to all these offices or decide which one you want to do business with. So it's not one procurement system, not one office you go to, but you have to go to each one, depending on who you want to sell to.
Okay. Now, are there grants out there for minority women to start their own business? Is there something that they could do, or something available to minority women to start businesses?
Well, not really grants per se,
okay,
but we have these small loans. I know people don't want to hear about a loan because you got to pay a loan back.
Right.
There are grants in the sense if you're going to do small business as far as technology with the federal government. It's called SBIR. There's the possibility there. There are grants for nonprofit organization if you want to do something to help the community, for the betterment of the community. There are grants like that. But if you have a private enterprise, it's a loan that you're looking for. Okay, but that's why I tell people to go to their families and other members to get financing first.
Okay, great. Now, speaking of nonprofit organization, Ms. Jacobs, you specialize in that. What are the benefits, actually, of having a nonprofit organization?
Well, one of the benefits of having a nonprofit organization is that you can solicit for funding all over the world, and you can help people with all kinds of problems, such as drug addicts, AIDS patients.
So, like you said, something towards the good of, helping the community.
Yes, working to make a positive change in the lives of underprivileged,
right,
underprivileged people for the most part.
Now, what are the steps to setting up a nonprofit? Because I know you've helped a lot of people set up their nonprofit.
Absolutely. Well, the first thing you want to do is establish your trade name, and you want to establish your employment identification number. You may hear it is called as an N number or a tax number. And then you want to go to the tax and assessment office, and down in Washington, D.C., you can go to Regulatory Consumer Affairs, where you get your articles of incorporation established. And then you want to set up your bylaws, which establishes you and your board. Your articles establish you among the city or the county that you're going to establish your organization in. Okay. And then the bylaws will establish you with your board, and then you have to apply with the Internal Revenue Service to get a nonprofit status. A lot of times people call and they get a tax number and say, I'm a nonprofit. Not so. You have to have the nonprofit status.
So there are steps specifically, you need to follow each step involved to get your nonprofit
Absolutely.
started. Now, once you get all that set up, what happens next?
Now you want to set up your marketing materials. You want to get your business cards and your brochures and your website set up, and you want to call the foundation center and find out where the money is for the nonprofit organization, and start writing letters to, different organizations who would contribute to meeting the needs of underprivileged people.
Now, I would expect, setting up a business plan and proposal still needs to be submitted, even though it's a nonprofit.
Good question. It would all depend on the contributor and what the requirement is. Okay. In most cases, most nonprofits just really need a simple proposal, a basic proposal, to give people a general idea of what you're doing, because when they receive these hundreds and thousands of proposals, they don't read anything but probably the first 2 pages. So it would really be of to no avail to really try to get a 50-page proposal.
Now, the challenge that almost all nonprofits face is raising funds. Is there an easier way to raise funds? Is there a specific strategy to raise funds for a nonprofit organization?
The key is to be determined. Start what you finish, network, go to your meetings, find out where they're giving the money, and keep it simple. A lot of times, as my dear friend said here earlier, you don't need a lot of money. A lot of times people say, oh, I want to start a nonprofit organization. I want to get a $100 million loan. And they only have 6 people that you're ministering to. You really don't need but probably about 500 people, some seed money just to get started. And Target and Walmart and Amoco and Exxon, those organizations are real good. Banks are really good. So I tell people, you can solicit 50 banks and ask them $4,000. That's $50,000.
So does that work?
Keep it simple. It works every time.
Now, how is it possible to merge a profit and nonprofit together?
I would suggest not. I would suggest to keep it simple. I hear a lot of churches ask me that questions. They say, I have a church and I want to start a cleaning company within my church. You want to keep the funds separate because it's really a thin line with, you know, handling the funds. If you want to be real careful when you handle the nonprofit funds because they're really coming down, Internal Revenue Services is coming down on a lot of people who are starting nonprofits. If you look onto the news now, they're coming down on a lot of different ministries who seem to be benefiting from a lot of the donations and contributions that are coming in. So they want to kind of keep it really separate.
Now, speaking of funding, Mr. Ruiz, talk to me about how someone could go about starting their business with limited or no collateral at all.
There's a variety of programs that are available to obtain financing with little or no collateral. To begin with is the microenterprise loan program through Montgomery County. That's from $5,000 to $15,000. But let us suppose someone needs $50,000 financing and the banks right away ask, do you have a home? You don't have a home. It's a service company, so there's no hard collateral. There are programs available, which is the Business Loan Express program and the Small Business Administration Community Express program, whereby if you have good credit, you can then, and then your reward for having good credit, you could obtain $50,000 financing under a 7-year loan, and that is guaranteed 85% by the Small Business Administration, and to use for working capital for a startup.
So what about people without good credit? Can they still start a business?
If an individual does not have good credit, yes, they can start a business. You're not going to get financing at a bank, and it will be very, very hard to get financing under these unsecured programs. However, let us suppose your type of company is a company that you need equipment. And what I work with is a great variety of different types of lenders. The biggest misconception is that it's only the bank that can provide financing. That is not so. There you will get the best rates overall at the banks and the most flexible type of financing as well. But if you have limited credit and or adverse credit, for example, I had a client with a credit score of 540, which is really bad. And he now was at the point of his business where he was expanding. He needed a cargo van with refrigeration. That cost $30,000. There I got for him 100% 10-year financing through Ford Industrial Credit. This is an example of an asset lender. And there are a variety of asset lenders throughout the country that I utilize for my clients. And sometimes even when they have good credit, then I'll mix up their financing where they're going to get a microenterprise loan, a bank loan, and asset lending on equipment, thereby enabling them to maximize their leverage on their assets.
So pretty much with bad credit, you could still get a loan, but it's going to be at a higher rate.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Now, what licenses are needed to get a business started?
For a normal service company, you don't need a license per se. But if you're certain select occupations, cosmetology is an example, and then you do need, or remodeling or construction, then you do need license that are geared to that occupation. But let's say you're going to do an IT company. It's a service company. You do not need a business license per se. You do have to register your company with the state and file articles of organization, whether it's an LLC, S Corp, C Corp, but you don't need a business license.
Now, where can people get help to write their business proposals? Because I know that will be the first step, everybody, like you have already mentioned. Is there anywhere specifically they could get help to do that, or at least get some kind of training to do that, starting up, writing their business proposals?
Yes, through the Maryland Small Business Development Center, we're statewide and heavily present in Montgomery County. We provide workshops in Wheaton and in Sewin and Rockville and in College Park on how to write a business plan. After that, we provide business management consulting services and business coaching, where then after our client, these individuals come and say, I want to be a client. They can become our client at no cost, and we provide the business coaching at no cost. There, we read the plan and then provide our own editing and coaching on how to improve that business plan. Even ideas like where Devant brought up a very good idea where a business is not viable or the need is not there. There we help the clients to assess that. There we coach the clients on how to do a market assessment. We even have resources of economists in San Antonio that at no cost do a market analysis on that individual's proposed business. And even we think strategically and show our client how to think strategically. For example, I had one client where he wanted to do a home remodeling business, and so he was going to call it JDW Enterprises. Very nondescript. And there we showed him how to rename that company so that when an individual sees the name of that company, they know what they do. That's a branding and marketing issue. And so it goes way beyond just the bare bones of the business plan itself. Then it's implementing the business plan, and that's where we help them on an ongoing basis as well.
Okay, now talk to us about women-owned certifications or veteran certifications.
There's a variety of certifications. For women-owned certifications, it's a self-certification. For veterans, there is a certification process. These types of certifications, and then there's a minority certification. These types of certifications are the primary purpose if you're going to do government contracting with the county, the state, or the federal government. But there's a different type of certification if you're going to market corporate America, and that's through the Minority Supplier Development Council. And a very good source for that in terms of marketing is MBE Magazine, and there we coach our clients on how to obtain those resources. So those certifications are there, but one needs to know how to use them. Okay. And sometimes they don't need it for the type of market that they're going after.
Now, have you seen a lot of people really take advantage of the services that you guys have to offer? I mean, any experiences or feedback with the services?
It's yes and no. And in the SBDC, we try to let many people know that what we do, we provide cost-free business management consulting services. But time after time, I meet people that they started their business 5 years ago, and now they're into severe, severe problems. And they tell me, I wish you all, I knew you all existed 5 years ago. We're often called the best kept secret in town, but we don't try to be, because we have 1,500 offices nationwide, 26 in Maryland, and we do extensive community outreach.
That can be a secret.
So we are there to help, but we do have a good number of clients, but we have the capacity for more.
What about you, Mr. Walker? Have you noticed people really wanting to take advantage of the services?
All the time. My telephone is always ringing. I have extensive list of emails, people interested. One way we resolve this by, and anyone can contact our office or go on our website again, and download the resource guide, and so they can look at what resources they particularly need from that. So we're getting a number of people, especially for our micro enterprise program and other loan programs, people are calling us with an interest in starting and operating a business.
What about you, Ms. Jacobs? How can people, get in touch with you if they wanted to start their own thing, or have you noticed people really wanting to start nonprofits?
Oh, many people. We have a database of thousands of organizations and companies that can help contribute money to nonprofits, and they could call us on 301-649-2105, or they can email me personally at jecllc@yahoo.com, and we'll be happy to sit down and give them free consultation and kind of hold their hand and walk them through the process.
Now, one last question for you, Mr. Ruiz. How can people go about setting up an appointment with a SBDC counselor?
Go to our website, www.capitalsbdc.umd.edu, or call our intake and training specialist, Vanita, at 301-403-0501.
And Mr. Walker, you might as well list the number.
Yeah, you call us at 240-777-2000.
Okay, and there's a website?
And the website is smartmontgomery.com.
And now let's get to Miss Elaine, the most important part of it, which is marketing. Now, how essential is it that people have a marketing person or a publicist on their power team?
I think it's critical depending on what industry you're in. I think that when you start out doing your small business, you need to assess where you are. So are you at that point where you can truly market yourself? And once you do, when you start to get more work as a result of your marketing, do you have the capacity to meet the demand? And I think hiring a publicist or a PR firm is really dependent on your business structure and where you are in your business. I think that while the role of a publicist or a PR firm is to make sure that your image is maintained, your brand is maintained, that whatever it is that you're trying to sell is marketable and that there is an audience for it. So I think it just really depends on where you are, what you're trying to do, and whether or not you can deliver once your brand is actually out there.
Now, what are some of the tricks of the trade or tip of the trade that you could give, you know, audience, people watching?
I would say one of the primary things, and it's something you can't buy or purchase, is confidence. Especially as a small business owner, you don't have the money necessarily to have a lot of people who work for you, and a lot of times you're starting out on your own, selling yourself, and it is critical that you have confidence in who you are and what your abilities are and what services you can provide, because once you start talking to people, that will come through. A lot of times you may get clients simply based on how you carry yourself, how you look, how you approach people, and I think that it's very important that you know your worth and your business's worth. I also think doing your research is very important. Before you approach a potential client or customer, it is important that you know what they do and that you know how your services can fill in that gap.
Now, one of the most common objection that business owners or the self-employed run into is when they meet a prospect is no money, no budget.
Right.
How do they really go about uncovering what the true objection is?
I think you start small. So in other words, when you approach somebody, don't go for the sell, don't go for the kill immediately. Understand that person. A lot of times clients want to be heard. They want to know that whoever they're hiring is listening to them and truly understand what their business needs are. As a small business starting out, I think it's also important that you understand that you need to pay to play, so to speak. You shouldn't always expect money right off the top. I think that if you can build up credibility with the client in which you're reaching out to, the money aspect will come later. Yeah. It's also important to know why there's such an objection. I think a lot of times people just assume right off the top, oh, the person's not really cooperative or they don't like me, but they could have internal struggles that they're dealing with within their organization, and they might be on board with what service you have to provide,
and they probably don't even know that your service could benefit them until you really explain it to them.
Correct. And because of that, it's very important that you establish yourself with your client as what I like to call a trusted advisor. They need to be able to see you as the person that they can come to, and they can talk to you about some of their internal struggles. The benefit of that is when you understand an organization's internal struggles, you can then provide them with services to meet that challenge. And then you also go to the root of what their objection is. And then you can just kind of maneuver around it. So I would say another great tip is being a good listener. You'll be surprised how much you can learn about an individual's company when you listen to them and you ask them probing questions. So, oh, wow, I went on your website. I figured you started in 1997. Wow, you've been in this industry for 12 years. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do? And in the process of that person talking about themselves, you start to think about, oh, I can provide value here. I can provide value there. And this is how I can contribute to that person's business.
Right. Now, how can a business owner go about setting up referrals, like a referral agreement with their current clients?
Well, personally, I would say with referral agreements, it's touchy. And I say that because what you want to first do is establish yourself confidently with your client. It's important that the client doesn't feel like the only reason that they're your client is because you want a referral. I think that they need to understand what you do and how you provide value to them. And once they do that, you can set up informal ways of referring clients.
Now, would you say that technology has made it easier for business owners to get business?
I think technology has made it easier for business owners to be visible in a market outside of their city, outside of their state, outside of their region. I think the high touch is also still important. It's important to get out. It's important to network. It's important to look people in the eye and shake their hand. It's important for people to know what you stand for just by interacting with you. So the internet is a great help and it's a great tool, but it works hand in hand with high touch.
Thank you. You all have given us some invaluable information today, and we have to take a short break. But when we come back, we'll take comments and questions from our studio audience. Back in a moment with more on As We See It.
Hi, my name is Ann Bergen. I'm 15 years old and a member of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Washington Germantown branch. Our clubs, located in Silver Spring and Germantown, provide a wonderful opportunity for more than 5,000 children just like me each year, teaching us a valuable lesson in recreation, education, character building, and leadership skills. The club serves as a positive place for kids. To learn more about how to support the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Washington, please call 1-800-747-9561 or visit us at www.b.
Welcome back to As We See It. And if you're just joining us, we've been discussing the benefits of starting your own business. Now, we actually, we heard from the panel, and we're going to take questions. And I know a lot of you in the audience have a lot of questions. So I'm going to start with Dr. Felton. I know you have a question or a comment to make about your business, or come up to the mic. Round of applause for Dr. Felton.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd just like to say I have a business called, I have two businesses. One is the Universal Gospel, and the other one is the National Outreach Coalition. And my business was established as an outreach program. And what I do, I provide outreach services. It was started in the city, but now it's national. I even do international stuff now in Africa. But one of the things that I did, I was able to start about 5 years ago. I'm tax exempt, DC and federal, and Mondria Jacobs helped me write my first grant, which I got a grant from the Department of Justice for a program called the Victims of Crime. And what I do, I have a TV show, a radio broadcast, public access, and I provide information and services. I set up outreach programs in all the churches, and when I go preach, I give the resources, the clothes. This is Easter time, we're doing revival this week, in fact. And, so there's a lot of things that you give away to the families that are really, destitute this time of year.
And how long has your business been going?
It's about 8 years now.
So Dr. Felton is actually a good example that you can make it past that 5-year mark and keep going with a nonprofit organization.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you so much, sir.
Sure.
Adonna, do you have a question?
Hello, and thank you for the panel for the great information you provided earlier. My name is Adonna Leonard. I'm with the American Classic Agency, and we help many families, professionals, individuals with protecting their assets as well as future assets and retirement portfolios. In the process, we work with churches, and right now our business is in a year of expansion, and we're actually trying to partner up with many small businesses. And so a question for the panel is, just giving you a brief overview of what we do, what would be a good networking tool for reaching small businesses in the Montgomery County area?
Well, I'd like to go first, if you don't mind. We need to be in contact because our office, Department of Economic Development, we're working with small businesses all the time. Great. So I need to get understanding more of what you do, and perhaps put you in partnership with some of the other businesses, or maybe some teaming that you can do with them. So I'll be glad to get your card, and I give you my card to do that. We have various seminars, workshops, conferences where we can invite you to, and you can network with some of the small businesses that way. We do special things with our chambers of commerce in the county. We have about 11 chambers. We can put you in contact with them as well. Wonderful. So we can talk, and we can get you connected to some of the businesses that we work with.
Okay, thank you.
You just made a partnership.
Thank you.
Did anybody else want to address her question? Or does I have someone in the audience that has a question. Come up to the mic.
Hi, my name is is Latanya Coward, and I'm just starting a business thanks to Evangelist Jacobs. It's called Kingdom Victories Enterprise. It will be a nonprofit. Evangelist Jacobs helped me with my paperwork and to get started. But my question is, for Evangelist Jacobs, I know you said that it was not a good idea to have a nonprofit change to a profit or put it together. So if I did want a for-profit business, what would I need to do? Would I need to be a separate entity?
I believe that you should probably set it up as an LLC, and depending on what type of services you want to provide and your target population will determine where you would go from there. But I personally would, now there are situations where you can have a nonprofit and maybe you have a company within the entity under the umbrella of that nonprofit. Churches do it all the time. But I personally would suggest that you would just set it up separate as a LLC.
Okay, thank you. You'll be helping me with that too.
I certainly will.
Thank you. Any more questions from the audience?
Hi, my name is John Mensa. I have a question for people who actually do sole proprietorship. Like you have your regular 9-to-5, and you do a small business on the side just for that extra income. And then at what point in time, you know, and how do you go about breaking away from like your regular 9-to-5 and you know, go doing something like an LLC or something? Like what are the indicators and what's the strategy behind doing that?
All right, I'll follow you.
I'll just start quickly. We advise you don't quit your 9-to-5 job immediately, because therefore you have an income, and you use the income to finance your business. Okay, what happens? A lot of people start that second business and they quit the daytime job, losing the employee benefits and all that. So we want you to do a transition into the other business. So so I would say do a transition. I would just make sure that you're doing this, you do a transition to the business, and you can determine when you're ready to transition to the business full time. But keep in mind, you have a salary coming in. You use this money to finance your part-time business. Okay.
I would like to also add that that would really depend on you and the rate in which you minister to your business, because your business can only have what you give it. So determine on how hard you work will determine what your business will become. So you're going to determine that, and you're going to know that in the next 6 months. If, let's say, if you started a business on Monday morning, in the next 6 months, you'll be able to answer the question yourself, because you'll say, I have this much revenue, I have this much assets, I've accomplished this, I've gained that, I can quit my job, or I can't quit my job. So you are going to be the gauging point for that to answer your own question. I like to just kind of touch bases with Luella Felton, Dr. Felton. I have been an eyewitness to your business and what you've been doing, and I want to say you've been doing a wonderful job. I've seen the impact that you've made on communities all across this nation's capital, and I want to encourage you to keep up the good work. And I believe that if you just continue to seek the funding that you're seeking, people are giving to you by bits and pieces, and I think that if you just keep going at that rate, that you'll do just fine.
On your business, let me add one more on your business. Right now, do a business plan as if you're to start this venture on a full-time basis, so that you could quantify what is going to be the startup capital, and then what financing will you need to cover the cash flow during the implementation, because usually it's from anywhere from 3 to 6 months to negative cash flow. But just be realistic. Don't get euphoric about this. Now what you've done is you quantified the startup capital. Then what you do, now you go to your personal life budget and you scale down. So you don't live life as usual. You're thinking strategically. You're investing for the future. So you scale down in order to determine how much can you save up to cover that startup nut. And then now you know the time frame and the timeline that you'll be able to start your business. But now that savings, don't use that savings, however, that you got to start that business. Get financing and use your savings for your backup capital, because it happens. And then you'll have that backup capital, and when those surprises occur.
Okay, let's take one more question. I know you had a question. One more question from the audience. I know I'm being cute too. Hurry up.
Greetings to the host and the panel. This question is to the two gentlemen on the panel. I hear you say workshops. You offer workshops, and I know it's in Wheaton and Rockville, but do you also offer it in Baltimore City or in Baltimore County or the surrounding
Yes, yes. Go to, call this number, 410-704-5001. That is the Small Business Development Center for Central Region, which covers Baltimore City, Baltimore County, Howard County, and Arundel County. And I had the pleasure of working there under a great boss, Ms. Sonia Stockton. As for her, she's great.
Thank you so much. Great information. Thank you. Up next is a performance you don't want to miss. Back in a moment with more on As We See It.
Are you thinking about a divorce or separation? Are you currently involved in a business dispute? Do you wish you could control the outcome instead of a judge? There is an alternative. It's called collaborative law. Trained collaborative professionals help you to settle the issues without going to court. For more information, please visit our website at www.collablawmaryland.org.
The First Tee of Montgomery County teaches children life skills through the sport of golf. Our program has helped change a young man's failing grades to honor roll and seen several children win scholarships to our National Leadership Academy. How? Because the First Tee teaches focus and goal setting. If you know a child who would not have access to this kind of opportunity, contact the First Tee of Montgomery County. Golf is more than a game.
Our next guest is known for bridging cultural gaps with his African folklore storytelling, dancing, and singing. Please help me welcome Mr. Dan Suna.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
So Dan, talk to me about how you got your background. How did you get started playing African instruments?
I grew up around it. In Uganda, music and dancing and storytelling, it's just all around you, from your elders, if they are happy about you or are happy as a result of something you've done, sometimes they will take you and tell you a story or do a dance for you. I used to love my grandmother dancing for me. Every time I had a nice report card, she would say, sit down, and then she would do this dance for me, and it's the coolest thing. So I grew up around it, and as a result, I developed a passion for it.
So you didn't have to take any special classes to learn how to take this? It was just a natural thing?
I did have to take some classes.
Oh, you did?
I mean, not like in a formal way, but it's a lot of learning, and I'm still learning, Yeah.
And I understand you have 2 albums, and tell me, what is your passion from producing those albums? Where does that passion come from? Is it from your past experiences, or is it something that you witnessed somebody else go through? Because I know you have a song on there titled Women of Rock. Is that what it is?
Women Are Rocks.
Women Are Rocks.
Yeah.
So...
Well, my inspiration comes from, I say it comes from God. It's just all around, Everywhere I look, I can look at somebody and come up with a story with it, or a song, from them. I can sometimes experience that I've been through as a child or that I go through as I travel around the country. I meet a lot of people and I go through a lot of situations. I mean, inspiration is all around, Ideas are, infinite. There's no beginning, there's no end. They're just all over,
Now,
So,
Uganda is currently going through a war. How long has that war been going on in Uganda?
Oh, this one is over 20 years now, I think. It's over 20 years. And the sad thing, on one of the albums I have, called Voices of War, which is my latest one, came out in December of 2006. That title song, Voices of War, comes from an experience I had when I was a child. We would go through, we had the Civil War, one of so many we've had, and every evening we would have to leave our homes and go hide in the bushes, because soldiers will come in the middle of the night. They want to take everything you have, and if you don't have anything, they will take the life you have. So people in the evening would gather up in the village and just go hide in the bushes, and in the morning would come back. But for me, that wasn't like the sad thing. I think the sad part comes in that as I travel around the U.S. now, so many years later, please don't ask how old I am. No, but as I travel around, and then I realized that you know, in another part of Uganda, like in northern Uganda, people are still going through the same experience that I went through over 20 years ago.
Right.
It just kind of, it's very painful because, you know, it's like we don't learn,
right.
you know, and it has to come to a stop at some point, you know.
So during the time you were in Uganda, was the music some kind of a getaway for you, like some kind of consolation? You know, during the war when you were there, was the music like something that you used to like really get away from everything?
Today, I still use music and to get away. It's really not really to get away from it because, you know, you never quite get away from it. But it helps me put things in perspective, you know, see it a different way, or, you know, confront it, but in a calm and humble manner, you know.
Now, you talked about how you travel around the U.S. You go to Smithsonian and you teach kids how to play the instrument. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah. What I decided to do when I started was to make it more of an educational experience. Not just for me, but for whomever is listening, you know, whoever my audience is. And plus, I feel like I really didn't have a choice but to make it an educational part because, you know, when I pull up these traditional instruments I play, the first thing people want to know, you know, the story behind it. What is that before you even start playing it? Mm-hmm. It's not quite like, you know, when you hold a guitar, you know, people are not going to be asking, well, what are the strings made out of? What's up with the box? What's up with this? You know,
but you get those type of questions with.
Yeah, I mean, the moment I grab the instrument, they already want to be educated about it. Where, you know, where does it come from? What is that? Why does it sound like that? You know, so I think I really didn't have a choice, and it's a beautiful thing too to be educating people, because they're not only learning about these instruments, but they're learning about the culture. And once I have the audience, I have to, you know, I have the opportunity to really instill with them some of the principles, universal principles that we all work with. You know, some people think that we are so different, you know, whether you're in Africa and you're in America, you're just like so different, but really we have a whole lot more in common than we realize.
Right.
We really do.
Right.
And, you know, yeah.
Now, when you work with the kids and the people that you've met, what type of feedback do you actually get from them?
It's been an extremely positive feedback, and I feel like that's, you know, it's been a blessing in that, you know, I've been doing this for a little over 12 years, you know, and it just keeps coming. And people are amazed, you know, at the picture of Africa that I paint for them. Because a lot of what we see on TV, you know,
not from Discovery Channel.
Not from this. But it's not an accurate and entirely, you know, true picture of what Africa really is, you know. So when I show up and I play these traditional instruments and we'll talk to them about what Uganda and Africa is like, you know, they have a different appreciation for it.
Right.
You know, they are a lot of some of the comments I get is something like, "Wow, I never knew that you had all these modern things in Africa, like cell phones and iPods and, you know, TVs and everything, you know, like, you know, I get a lot of that."
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah. Now, let me ask you a question, though. Now, is it true that the chords on, like, let's say, what is this instrument called? Can you talk about this instrument right here?
This right here?
Yeah. What is that called? Do the chords mean anything when you play them?
Do the chords?
Yeah, like the sounds that come from the chords, do they mean anything? Is there any meaning to it? I know it sounds like a dumb question, but I'm sure people actually ask you that question.
No, it's not a dumb question. But what it is, it's like this. Okay, this instrument right here. Mm-hmm. First of all, the way it's made, we call it in Tongoli. In English, it's a bow lyre. It's a lyre.
Okay.
You know, like what King David played in the Bible?
Right.
You know, it's not the one he played, of course, but something similar. Okay. Now, the way we make it is we get a piece of wood and we shape it out like a bowl of soup, hence bow, lyre. On the bottom, we cover it with cow skin. On top, we have monitor lizard skin. And in Africa, we like to recycle just about everything we get our hands onto. So here comes the hair from a goat's tail. Okay. It's just for decoration. And the brown things you see on top, those are the tuning, you know, circles, you know. Okay. Now, this instrument is a 5-note instrument. You know, it's a pentatonic instrument. So even though it's got 8 strings, the bottom 5 are the main ones. And the other 3 on top are just kind of filling the gaps.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
And yeah, and it can be tuned. You can tune it in any way that you wish, really, yeah.
Okay. Now, you're going to be performing 2 songs for us today, one from each album?
Yes.
Now, talk to us about the songs you're going to be performing. What was your inspiration in writing those songs?
Okay, the first one I perform on this instrument, on the bolaya, is called the kola. And kola, it says, whatever it is that you get a chance to do, anytime you have an opportunity to do something, give it 100% all the time, with all the love you've got, because when you do that, and I learned this when I was in Africa, and I thought it was just an African thing, but when I came to America, I realized it's the same thing. When you give all the passion that you have, just give it 100%, more of the same good things, more opportunities are going to come to you.
Right.
The panelists, before they were talking, one of them, I believe, said something about initially not expecting to make money, but for me, it's like when you have the passion, which has been my case, I had the passion, and I still do, and I go out there and play it, and then before you know it, people start paying you for it.
Right.
And and really that's what it was.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna let you go ahead and start off with your performances, and we'll just take it from there. Thank you. Round of applause for them.
Oh yeah, and during my performances, I like to get the audience involved. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for helping me out. You're gonna help me keep the beat, right? Yes. Now, when you do that, you're gonna have a smile on your face too. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so here we go. First song is called out. Whatever you do, give it 100%, because when you do that, more of the great things are coming to you. So here we go. And what I like to do sometimes is give the people the opportunity to try these instruments out. Now I'm wondering if you would like to try it out. You want to try it out?
I'll try it.
Yeah, it's okay. I know it's made out of like a whole lot of things, but it's okay. So here we go. You got time. You can try it out.
Is there a particular way to hold it?
Yeah, you hold it. You put. Okay, here you go. You hold it like that.
Okay.
Now, this is to keep it in place.
Okay.
Hold it tight.
All right.
Up here, hold it tight.
Okay.
And then, just for starters, you want to use your thumb and your index finger.
Okay.
No, on this hand.
On this hand. Okay.
Let go of this hand.
All right.
Let go of this hand.
It's gonna take a day.
No, it won't. You got it. Just hold him up like this.
Okay. Right here?
Yeah, like that.
All right.
And you pull on the strings and pull it towards you.
Okay.
Okay, a little softer. Yeah, pull it a little softer. A little softer.
Softer?
Yeah. Okay, now try all the 8 strings out.
Which one are the 8 strings?
All of them. That's good. That's good. Now, how about you and I, we can play a song for the audience. Yes, we can.
Okay.
Go ahead and do your thing, okay? Oh, no. Start a little slower. A little slower, yeah. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
This song will not sell.
Yes, it will. You watch. Yes, it is. I keep going. No, from the top, yeah. Keep going.
See, I'm all over the place. You gotta be coordinated to be able to do this.
Yeah, well, it takes just a little bit of time. But see, it wasn't that hard, you know?
It wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't. And by the way, unfortunately, Dan only brought 1 CD, so everybody in the audience is gonna have to listen to my 1 CD. That's not true. I take it back. Dan is giving everybody a CD today.
Yes. Thank you.
So you have a next song to perform for us?
Yes, I have one more song I'd like to perform. Can you hold this with me?
Sure.
Thank you. The next one I'd like to do is, I play it on the thumb piano, or, in English we call it a thumb piano, but depending on what language from Africa that you speak, you call it a different name. Some people call it a kalimba, zanza, marimba, mbira, it's just different names. And the song I'd like to share with you on here is called Cha-Cho-Chi. Can you say that? A little louder. Cha-Cho-Chi. I can say, have some fun with it. Everybody turn and face somebody sitting next to you. Face your neighbor. I didn't say it. Face your neighbor. Come on and repeat after me. Say, neighbor. How you doing? Neighbor. You look nice. And I look nice. Don't we all look nice? Cha-Cho-Chi. Yes. Now you see, I was telling you guys before that a lot of times people think we are really all that different, but we are not. Okay? That Cha-Cho-Chi song says, you look nice, I look nice, and because of that, we should really celebrate our similarities, every chance we get. And for that, we really should not be worrying about all our differences. So don't worry about the differences. Let's focus on the similarities and help each other go places. We can go farther than we can imagine. Okay? So here we go.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Banange kambadde nsimbi n'obutiti kaleba Cha-Cho-Chi. Cha-Cho-Chi. Ololo Cha-Cha-Cha-Cho-Chi. Kovada musasire, ora musasire, oh, bakusasire. You can go ahead, you can go ahead. Musajja genda kaleba nabira balyekeyo kaleba kanyonyi kali pulusi amazima kambadde nsimbi kaleba zimbi n'obutiti kaleba Cha-Cho-Chi. Cha-Cha-Cha-Cho-Chi. Chica Covanta Musasire, Wana Musasire, oh, Musasire, Musasire, oh, Musasire. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you I like to get people involved, and since you have such wonderful smiles, here's your part. It's very simple. All you got to do is just sit up straight and repeat after me nice and loud. You get that? It's very simple, okay? Nice and loud. Cha-cho-chi, go! Cha-cho-chi. No, make it your own. Have fun with it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, just have fun with it. Here we go. Here. Cha-cho-chi, go! Cha-cho-chi. Cha-cha-cha-cha-cho-chi. Yeah, you gotta make the face too. You look so funny doing that. That's wonderful. If you worry, all your worries come true. But if you dreaming, all your dreams come true. She said if you worry, all your worries come true. But if you dreaming with faith, all your dreams come true. These were the words of an old lady sitting on a train. She had a smile on her face, and I didn't understand why she was smiling. But all I could see, all around me, was nothing but catastrophe. She said, son, don't you worry, 'cause it's all taken care of now. 'Cause if you worry, all your worries come true. But if you dreaming with faith, all your dreams come true. Jesus told you about it. All your dreams come true. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zane. Thank you. And thanks to the audience for being such a good sport and participating. And I know some of you came great distances, and I really thank you for being here today. And audience, people watching, make sure to tune in same time next week for another interesting edition of As We See It. And thanks to my outstanding panel as well. Thank you for watching. See you next time.
And here's another song I like to do for people, for only wonderful audiences. It says, thank you for being a wonderful audience. It is. You don't believe me? It's on the album. You'll see it. Dear ladies and gentlemen, you've been a wonderful audience, but I forgot to leave you. We got to pack up and move again. See, I forgot to go home, and I need to go home. I got to see my wife again.